Well, hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing, man? Just in the middle playing some NBA 2K15. So what I do want to talk about is Tough Enough, the show Tough Enough, and how different it was from the original format. And why Tough Enough, the show was kind of a disappointment, but at the same time they didn't manage to pull out because it's a reality, competitive reality show. So that's what it kind of feels like. So what I want to talk about is kind of like how the show went, and
he's looking for Jordan and finds him.
Good thing about it and what was not so good about it. So the only good thing about it is when Hogan left Tough Enough, The Miz kind of took his spot after he left, and he made it really interesting because the show kind of picked up very differently. With Hogan, who was an alumni in Tough Enough, it was great he was a judge because he knew how the business worked and operated and whatnot, but with The Miz, he just made it more entertaining. He was entertaining for Tough Talk. He was the entertaining piece for Tough and the redeeming part about it. So I feel like that was the good thing about it. And I feel like the downfall about it was, what is it? The downfall about it was, I feel like mostly it was, you know, the voting. No offense to the fans who voted for Tough Enough, but it was quite interesting to watch. And but you know, Tough Enough kind of like, it was so different because it was just weird because seeing Paige get on Sarah Lee the way she did, I can imagine, because especially how Chris Jericho got hard on him and whatnot. It was like, I'm surprised she made it far. I mean, she did improve a little bit to me, but she hasn't done a whole lot. But she was very well. But you know, the fact that, you know, I don't know, I wasn't really a fan of the concept, but if it was Stone Cold, he would have got a lot harder than what Chris Jericho did. Because I feel like with Chris Jericho as the host, he could have. Los Angeles is gone. And Renee Young there, she didn't really need to be there. Like, Chris Jericho was the host, he could have fulfilled the spot, but Renee Young probably as a co-host, it was just kind of odd. But you know, she could have been the host and replaced Chris Jericho for all that matters. So, quite frankly, but other than that, I honestly wish it was Tanner that made it far, because he would have been great competition for Josh, even though they're homies and stuff like that. He's great. And ZZ, I felt like, yeah, I felt like, you know, he reminded me of myself a little bit. You know, I could have been in Tough Enough and having to do all these sit-ups and push-ups and stuff. It was just crazy, so, or I felt like Patrick should have made it far. I'm surprised they voted off Patrick, and the fact that the fans even ranted about it was just odd. It was just crazy to believe. So
here's the three. Paul missing again.
Yeah, it was just kind of odd, you know, to say the least. So one thing I could say about that is, like, man, height difference there is huge, but if it was up to Jericho to do the cuts like Stone Cold did in Tough Enough,
exactly, Steve. He got to the hoop and wouldn't allow himself.
Patrick would have made it this far, and ZZ would have made it too far. Same thing with Sarah Lee. It could have been someone like Daria or Gabby probably that would make it so far in Tough Enough. I'm actually surprised Amanda made it to the finals with The Miz making the save. It was a good save. I mean, it was interesting. The Miz did what he did, but at the same time, it was like,
offensive rebound.
Yeah, at the same time, it was like, at the same time, it was like, man, it was crazy. It was like,
stay active, be energetic.
I was like, Miz was like the best part for Tough Enough. You know, it was really interesting. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it was a good thing. So one thing I could say to that is it was
in the league.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch.
Every time he gets near the rim.
Jordan no good on the free throw. And for
so
Jordan,
yeah, so with the Miz, it was just quite interesting. So one thing I can say to that is,
when I've watched him play, there are times when it seems
this is the best part, but let's talk about the matches in the finale of Tough Enough.
It really does look that way at times.
Sarah Lee was actually good in the ring. Amanda was a lot better. I felt like she was a phenom against Alicia Fox. She nails her finishing move. Unfortunately, it had to be a false finish. And of course, you're not going to expect her to win in her first match. I mean, what else could you expect?
Chance there to take the lead.
Other than that, it was like...
This quarter has not been his best. The defense may be starting to affect him a little bit.
Yeah, other than that, it was like, it was very good. I felt like she did quite better than Sarah Lee. But Amanda was served as a phenom. And Alicia Fox served great in the ring. The fact that she competed 2 matches.
I asked him about the challenge of containing Chris Paul, and he said, well, he's one of the best in the business, maybe the best. There's really nothing he can't do. But fellas, he said matching CP3's intensity on the court and making him work defensively are 2 keys. Back to you.
All right, Doris, thanks.
I felt like that was phenomenal. So, yeah, Alicia Fox's match was phenomenal. And then,
you can always depend on him to put the pass
Alicia
right
Fox
on the
was
money.
phenomenal in the ring. She was very great. It was just pretty impressive what she done, like especially with her character display was very great, and the fact of how Amanda went at her was great, and Sarah Lee was good. You know, she did brought a lot of hope. I guess I can say that. So for the least of everything, yeah. So I guess I can roll with that. So. Yeah, that's one thing I can say to that. So I thought it was great. It was interesting. It was great, and it was very smooth. So I'm a little bit impressed with Alicia Fox pulled. So I thought that was great. So
Swallow comes in for Nicholas Batum.
Yeah, and then Cesaro, you know, he nailed the submission hold on ZZ. I was a little bit shocked. I was a little bit shocked that ZZ tapped out. I thought he was going to pull it after the escape, but I shouldn't be surprised because he's kind of out of shape, and that's what I got to say to that. No offense, but he did show some improvement. It was great. Tough Enough did show improvement, just like me when I was on the college wrestling team. So that's what it reminded me of a little bit. So
it's serving him well as he continues.
I thought it was cool. So.
Los Angeles
so I thought it was cool. So it was a little bit interesting, and it was great. So yeah. It was great to watch. So one thing I could say to that is with Josh was a phenom. He was a phenom, and I was very interested to see how Patrick would pull it off against Cesaro, because I thought that would have been awesome. So, and I'm sorry I'm dwelling on it so much, but it's unfortunate that had to happen. So one thing I could say to that. So I thought it was great. Josh was phenomenal. I feel like he really earned to be the winner of Tough Enough. Amanda felt like really earned it, but she's gonna come back definitely. So I don't think we've seen the last of them. So, you know, like I said, we haven't seen the last of them. But however,
Aldridge with a screen on
you know, we'll see when. It just depends when or if they're gonna come. So yeah, that's what I gotta say to that. So that's my review, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it while I'm playing some 2K. And, hopefully I didn't allow the 3.
Clippers trail by 5.
Yeah, that's the way I'm just gonna play.
They need a good offensive possession.
Yeah, they've had a number of empty ones, a long time without a basket.
I got to find some. You're right. Some nice ball movement by the Clippers.
That's play.
Leonard with the steal. And now, in transition, it's a Flalo. Here we go.
Yeah, he got whacked. Shouldn't be much debate on that one.
Yeah, that was as straightforward as it gets, guys.